The stars were quiet that night. Captain stood at the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching the endless darkness through the main window. His ship was small compared to the great warships of other species, but it was fast and it was home. For 3 years, he and his crew had explored the outer edges of known space. They had seen wonders. They had made friends with strange beings. They had never fired their weapons in anger. That was about to change. "Captain, I am picking up something strange," said Lieutenant from her station. She was young but sharp, had seen her react faster than anyone he had ever served with. Her fingers moved across the control panel. "Multiple ships, 12. No, 15. They are attacking something." Walked to her station and looked at the screen. The sensor display showed a cluster of small ships running away from larger ones. The large ships were firing. Bright flashes appeared on the screen as weapons struck their targets. "Who are they?" asked. "The small ships are refugee transports. Civilian, no weapons," looked up at him. "The attacking ships are." The word hung in the air like poison. Everyone on the bridge knew every species in the galaxy knew they were hunters, killers, 8 feet tall with scales like armor and claws that could tear through metal. They had destroyed 47 species in their long history. No one fought and lived. "The refugees are asking for help," said the communications officer. "They say they attacked without warning. They have children on board." Closed his eyes, he thought about what the smart choice would be, the safe choice. They should turn around. They should run. Earth Command would understand. No one expected humans to fight He opened his eyes. "How many ships?" 15 warships, Captain." "And we have?" "1 ship, sir." Smiled, it was not a happy smile. "Well, we better make it count. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat." The bridge exploded into action. Alarms rang through the ship. Crew members ran to their positions. Dr. Minu, the ship's scientist, rushed onto the bridge with confusion on his face. "Captain, what is happening? Are we really going to fight "We are going to save those refugees," said. "The fighting is just how we do it." The horizon's edge shot forward like an arrow. It was not built for war, but humans had made it anyway. Hidden weapons came online. Shields powered up. In her seat, eyes were cold and focused. This was what she had trained for her whole life. The ships did not notice them at first. They were too busy enjoying their hunt. The refugee ships were slow and helpless. Easy prey, the loved easy prey. "Target the lead ship," ordered. "Fire everything." The horizon's edge screamed into the battle zone with all weapons blazing. The first ship never saw it coming. Human missiles tore through its shields and ripped it apart from the inside. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. For a moment everything stopped. They could not believe what they were seeing. A small human ship had just destroyed one of their warships. It was impossible. It was insulting. Then they attacked. 3 ships coming at us," reported. Her voice was calm even as death flew toward them. 4, 5, they are angry." "Good," said. "Angry enemies make mistakes. Keep moving, don't let them hit us." What followed was the most intense 15 minutes of life. The horizon's edge danced between the ships like a ghost. It was smaller and faster than anything they had ever hunted. Every time they thought they had it trapped, it slipped away and struck from a new angle. Was magnificent. Her hands moved like she was playing an instrument, and the instrument was death. She destroyed a second ship, then a third. The human crew cheered but did not celebrate. Something was wrong. The third ship had been different, larger, more decorated. "Captain," Dr. Minu said, his face was pale. "That ship we just destroyed, I scanned it before it exploded. There was a royal on board." Felt his blood turn cold. A royal. A prince, son of prime leader. The bridge went silent. Everyone knew what this meant. Killing soldiers was bad enough. Killing a prince was something else entirely. It was a death sentence for their entire species. The remaining ships suddenly stopped attacking. They pulled back and formed a line. For a long moment they just floated there, watching the human ship. Then one by one they turned and flew away. "They are retreating," said. She sounded confused. "Why are they retreating? We did not beat them." "They are going to tell their leader," said quietly. "They are going to tell him what we did." The refugee ships sent grateful messages. They called the humans heroes, saviors. Barely heard them. He was thinking about Earth, about his family, about what was coming. 3 days later, a ship from the Galactic Council arrived. Ambassador Kell came aboard the Horizon's Edge with a formal document and fear in his eyes. He was a small creature, barely 4 feet tall, with gray skin and too many fingers. "Captain of Earth," Kell said. His voice trembled. "I bring a message from the Dominion and the Galactic Council. You have killed Prince, son of Prime Leader, heir to the throne. The Dominion has declared total war on the human species. You have 30 cycles to surrender unconditionally or face complete extermination." Read the document. It listed all the species that had destroyed, 47 names. 47 civilizations turned to ash. Humanity would be 48. "Is there anything else?" asked. Ambassador Kell blinked. He had expected begging, crying, terror, not this quiet calm. "The Council advises immediate surrender. They have never lost a war. Your species is young and small. You cannot win." Handed the document back. He looked at Minu, at his crew. They looked back at him with steady eyes. None of them looked afraid. They looked ready. "Ambassador," said, "please send a message to Prime Leader and the Galactic Council." "What message?" "Walk to the communications panel." He opened a channel that would broadcast across every frequency in the galaxy. Every species would hear this. Every world. Every ship. "The attacked innocent refugees," he said. "They were killing children. We stopped them. If that means war, then so be it. But let me make something very clear to Prime Leader and anyone else listening." He paused. The galaxy held its breath. "We are humans. We do not surrender. We do not run. And if you come for us, you will learn why our planet is called Earth and why everything that ever lived there learned to fear the dark, because that is where we hunt." He closed the channel. Ambassador Kell stared at him with wide eyes. Then he turned and ran back to his ship. The war had begun. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. A small human ship had killed 3 warships. A human captain had told the Dominion to go to hell. Every species was talking about it. Most of them were laughing. On the planet, in the great gambling halls, bets were being placed. How long would humanity survive? The most popular bet was 3 months. Some thought it would be 6 weeks. A few drunk gamblers said 1 year, but everyone laughed at them. No one had ever lasted a year against the. Meanwhile on Earth, Admiral called a war council. The meeting room was deep underground, protected by layers of rock and metal. Was an old man with white hair and tired eyes, but his mind was still sharp. He had fought in 3 wars during his career. This would be his 4th and his last. "Tell me about he said. Dr. Minu stood at the front of the room. He had been brought back from the Horizon's Edge because he knew more about alien biology than anyone on Earth. For the past week, he had studied everything humanity knew about their new enemy. "They are predators," he began. "Their entire society is built around hunting. They evolved on a world where everything wanted to kill them, so they became the best killers. They are fast, strong. Their scales can stop most bullets. Their claws can cut through steel." He showed images on the screen. 8-foot monsters with yellow eyes and teeth like knives. Some of the generals shifted in their seats. "They have conquered over 200 worlds. They have destroyed 47 species completely. Their military is the largest in the galaxy. Their technology is advanced. Their warriors have trained for combat since birth." Admiral nodded slowly. "So what you are saying is that we cannot beat them?" "No," Dr. Minu said. He smiled. "What I am saying is that no one has ever tried the right way. He changed the image on the screen. Now it showed biological data, heart rates, muscle performance, energy usage. They are ambush predators. They are built for short, explosive attacks. Their bodies can produce incredible power, but only for a few minutes. After that, they become tired. Their muscles fill with waste products. Their minds become slow. They need hours to recover. He pointed at a graph. On their home world, this was perfect. They would hide, attack, kill, and then rest. Their prey never survived long enough to tire them out. And humans? Admiral asked. Humans are different. Dr. Minu showed a new image, a human skeleton next to a skeleton. We evolved as persistence hunters. On ancient Earth, our ancestors did not have claws or fangs. We could not outrun our prey, so instead we followed them. We walked after them for hours, days. We did not need to be fast. We just needed to never stop. The room was quiet. Everyone was starting to understand. They have never fought a persistence predator before, Dr. Minu said. They do not know what it means to face an enemy that does not give up, an enemy that keeps coming no matter how many times you knock them down. They have never faced humans. Admiral stood up. For the first time in days, he looked hopeful. How do we use this? We do not fight their kind of war, Dr. Minu said. We fight ours, long battles, constant pressure. We tire them out and then we finish them. The War Council talked for hours after that. Plans were made. Strategies were discussed. Ships were recalled from across human space. Factories began producing weapons. Young men and women lined up to join the military. Far away, in the halls of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Kell reported on the human response. They have not surrendered, he said. His voice was full of disbelief. They are preparing to fight. The council chamber was full of representatives from 100 different species. Most of them found this funny. A few found it sad. None of them found it threatening. How many ships do they have? Asked a representative from the Confederation. Perhaps 2,000 combat-ready vessels. Laughter filled the chamber. They had over 50,000 warships. They are fools, said another representative. Young, stupid fools. They will be dead within a month. Only one representative did not laugh. He was from a species called the, who had barely survived their own war with the centuries ago. He watched the recording of Captain's broadcast again. He looked at the human's eyes. He saw something there that the others did not see. He saw a predator. On the home world, Prime Leader received the news of human defiance. He was in his throne room, surrounded by the skulls of his enemies. The skull of his son was not among them. His son had been turned to ash by human weapons. There was nothing left to display. Was old for nearly 200 years. He had led his people through countless wars. He had never lost. The death of his son was the first true wound he had ever suffered. Bring me everything we know about humans, he ordered. His advisors gathered the information. It was not much. Humans were a young species. They had only been traveling between stars for 200 years. They were small and soft with no natural weapons. They bled easily. They died easily. They are nothing, one advisor said. Weak prey pretending to be hunters, we will crush them. Said nothing. He watched the recording of the battle. He saw how the human ship moved. He saw how it fought. There was something strange about it, something that made him uncomfortable. Send the Third Fleet to their colony world, he ordered. New, they call it. Destroy it completely. Kill everyone. Let the humans see what happens when prey forgets its place. The Third Fleet was one of the finest in the Dominion. 200 warships crewed by elite warriors. They would arrive at New in 12 days. On New, Sergeant received the warning from Earth Command. 200 ships were coming. She had 4,000 soldiers under her command. The math was not good. She gathered her officers in the command center. They looked at the reports. They looked at the timeline. They looked at each other. Can we evacuate the civilians? One officer asked. No time, said. We have 12 days. Even if we had enough ships that would catch them in open space. Then what do we do? Walk to the window. Outside she could see the colony, 50,000 people, families, children. They had come here to build a new life. Now monsters were coming to end it. She thought about running. She thought about hiding. Then she thought about her grandmother who had survived a war on Earth long ago. Her grandmother had told her stories about how humans fought when their backs were against the wall, how they became something more than human, something that could not be beaten. We dig in, said. We turn this planet into a fortress. Every building becomes a bunker. Every street becomes a trap. When the land, they will think they are walking into easy prey. They will be wrong. She turned to her officers. Her eyes were calm and certain. They want to hunt us. Fine, let them come. But they are going to learn something that no species has ever taught them before. They are going to learn what it means to fight humans on our ground by our rules. She smiled. It was the smile of a predator. And by the time they understand their mistake, it will be too late. The officers looked at each other. Then they nodded. They got to work. 12 days, 200 enemy ships, 4,000 human soldiers. The galaxy expected a massacre. They were right, but not the kind they expected. The Third Fleet arrived at noon on a bright morning. 200 warships filled the sky like dark clouds. They blocked out the sun and cast shadows over the colony below. Fleet Commander Torn stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the small world beneath him. He was young for a commander, only 60 years old. This was his first major operation. He wanted to impress Prime Leader. He wanted to make the humans suffer. Scan the surface, he ordered. His sensors swept across the planet. They found the human colony, 50,000 civilians, 4,000 soldiers, no heavy weapons, no orbital defenses, easy prey. Sir, they have not evacuated, his second officer said. They are still down there. Fools, Torn showed his teeth in what passed for a smile. They think they can hide. Send the landing force. I want this finished by nightfall. 20,000 warriors dropped from the sky in landing craft. They were the elite of the elite. Each one had killed before. Each one expected to kill again. They landed around the colony and began their advance. The first teams entered the outer buildings. They found nothing. Empty rooms, abandoned homes. The humans had retreated toward the center of the colony. They are running, a warrior reported. Cowards. They pushed forward, building by building, street by street, still no humans. The silence was strange, the emptiness was wrong. Then the traps began. The first explosion killed 30 in an instant. A building they had just passed collapsed on top of them. Before they could react, gunfire erupted from every direction. Human soldiers appeared from holes in the ground, from windows, from places they had already checked. They fired their weapons and disappeared again. Ambush, a warrior screamed. They are everywhere. But they were not everywhere. That was the trick. Sergeant had placed her soldiers carefully. Small teams of 5 or 10, hit and run, never stay in one place. Never let the enemy see how few you really are. They tried to fight back. They charged toward the gunfire, but the humans were already gone. They searched buildings, but the buildings were rigged with traps, explosives, poison gas, floors that collapsed into spike pits. Every step was dangerous. Night fell. They had advanced only 3 blocks. They had lost 800 warriors. Commander Torn could not believe the reports. 800 dead against 4,000 humans. Sir, they are not fighting like normal prey. They hide, they strike, they vanish. Our warriors cannot catch them. Torn slammed his fist against the wall. Then burn the colony, level it from orbit. Sir, the Prime Leader wants prisoners. He wants to make an example. Torn growled in frustration. He could not destroy the colony. He had to take it building by building. And somehow, the humans were making that almost impossible. On the ground, moved through the darkness like a ghost. She checked on her teams. She adjusted their positions. She kept them moving, always moving. Never let the rest. Never let them feel safe. "How are you doing?" she asked one of her soldiers, a young man named. "Tired," he admitted, "but I can keep going." Good, because they cannot. That was the secret. Had studied the biology reports from Dr. Minu. She knew their weakness. They were powerful, but they tired quickly. Humans did not. Humans could keep going for hours, for days, on nothing but willpower and anger. The second night was worse for the soldiers. Attacked their camps while they slept. They cut supply lines. They destroyed vehicles. They killed sentries and disappeared before anyone could respond. By the third day, the warriors were exhausted. They had barely slept. They were jumping at shadows. Some refused to enter buildings. Others refused to move at all. Commander Torn landed on the surface to take personal command. He gathered his officers in a secured building. "This is unacceptable," he said. "We are the greatest hunters in the galaxy. We do not lose to soft little creatures like humans." "Sir, they are not fighting like prey," one officer said. "They are fighting like us, but worse. They do not stop, ever." "Then we will not stop either. Send fresh troops from the fleet. We will overwhelm them with numbers." 10,000 more warriors landed. They pushed into the colony with overwhelming force. Buildings fell. Streets were cleared. Slowly, the humans were pushed back. But they did not break. For every building they took, they paid in blood. For every street they cleared, they lost dozens of warriors. The humans fought for every inch. When they were surrounded, they fought harder. When they were wounded, they kept fighting. When they ran out of bullets, they used knives. When they ran out of knives, they used their hands. On the fifth day, Torn led a unit of 50 elite warriors into the mountains outside the colony. They were chasing a small human squad that had been hitting positions all week. The squad was only 8 soldiers. Easy prey. They tracked the humans for hours. The trail was clear. The humans were running. Torn smiled. Finally, a proper hunt. But the trail kept going, up the mountains, through valleys, across rivers. The humans did not stop to rest. They just kept moving. After 6 hours, Torn's warriors were struggling. Their muscles burned. Their lungs ached. "Sir, we need to rest," one warrior gasped. "No, we are close. I can feel it." They kept going. 7 hours, 8, 9. Torn had never chased prey this long. He had never needed to, but every time they got close, the humans slipped away. On the 10th hour, they caught up to the human squad at a narrow canyon. Torn roared in triumph and charged forward. The canyon walls exploded. Rocks fell, dust filled the air. Torn found himself buried under stone. He struggled free and looked around. Half his warriors were dead. The others were scattered, confused, exhausted. Then the humans attacked. They came out of nowhere from positions they had prepared hours ago. This was not a chase. It was never a chase. The humans had been leading them into a trap. They had run for 10 hours to tire out their pursuers. And now, while they could barely stand, the humans struck with everything they had. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it ended, Torn was the only alive. He was on his knees, surrounded by 8 human soldiers who were barely breathing hard. One of them, a woman with cold eyes, crouched down to look at him. "You are fast," she said. "Strong, scary, but you get tired. We do not remember that." She hit him in the head, and everything went black. Torn woke up on a human medical ship. He was the only survivor of his unit. The woman who had captured him was Sergeant. She had carried him 3 miles to the extraction point. He did not understand. He was her enemy. She should have killed him. Instead, she saved him. When he was returned to the fleet in a prisoner exchange, he went straight to the communication room. He sent a message to Prime Leader on the highest priority channel. "My lord, we must retreat from Nu. We cannot win here." "Explain yourself," demanded. Torn thought about the 10-hour chase, the trap, the humans who kept going when any sane creature would have stopped, the look in Sergeant's eyes. "They are not prey," he said. "They are something worse. They are persistence hunters. They do not need to be stronger than us or faster than us. They just need to outlast us. And they can. My lord, they can run forever." Was silent for a long moment. "Retreat," he finally said. "Retreat and regroup. We will find another way." The Third Fleet from New, 200 warships, 20,000 warriors. They had come to destroy a small colony. Instead, they left with nothing but their dead. It was the first retreat in history. Across the galaxy, species watched in stunned silence. The betting halls went quiet. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. And on New, 4,000 human soldiers looked up at the sky as the enemy fled. They did not cheer, they were too tired. But they smiled. The retreat from New changed everything. For 10,000 years they had been the hunters. Now, for the first time, they felt what it was like to be hunted. Captain stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, looking at a star map. His ship was no longer alone. Around him floated 200 human warships, the largest fleet Earth had ever assembled. They were deep in territory, and they were not hiding. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant said from her station. "Weapons are charged, crews are rested." Nodded. "Good, begin the long hunt." The long hunt was Dr. Menu's idea. He had studied everything they learned from New. He had studied Torn's desperate message to Prime Leader. He understood now exactly how to break the "They are ambush predators," Menu had explained to the War Council weeks ago. "They strike hard and fast, then rest. If you give them time to recover, they become dangerous again. But if you deny them rest, they fall apart. Their bodies cannot handle prolonged stress. Their minds cannot either." "So we never let them rest," Admiral had said. "Exactly. We chase them. Forever. We rotate our crews in shifts so our ships never stop. Their crews do not rotate. They cannot. They do not think that way. Eventually, they will become so exhausted that they cannot fight. Then we finish them." That was the long hunt, and now it was beginning. The human fleet found a battle group near the system, 30 warships protecting a supply station. The commander saw the human fleet coming and smiled. Finally, a real fight, a chance to restore honor. He ordered his ships into attack formation. They charged forward with their usual explosive speed. They expected the humans to break and run. The humans did not run. They did not stand and fight either. They retreated slowly, firing as they went, always staying just out of reach, always keeping the chasing them. "They are running," the commander roared, "after them." His ships pursued. Minutes turned into hours. Hours turned into days. The humans never stopped moving. They never stopped shooting. They took shifts. Half the fleet would engage while the other half rested. Then they would switch. Fresh human crews faced exhausted crews. By the third day, the commander was making mistakes. His orders were confused. His ships were drifting out of formation. His warriors were falling asleep at their stations. "Sir, we need to stop," his second officer begged. "We need to rest." "We cannot stop. If we stop, they will attack." "Sir, if we do not stop, we will collapse." But stopping was not an option. Every time they slowed down, the humans struck. Quick attacks from multiple directions. Never enough to destroy them, but enough to keep them afraid. Enough to keep them awake. On the fifth day, 3 ships surrendered. Their crews were so tired they could not remember how to fire their weapons. They just wanted to sleep. By the 7th day, the battle was over. 18 ships destroyed, 9 captured, 3 escaped. The human fleet lost 2 ships. Captain recorded a message and broadcast it across space. "This is Captain of the Earth vessel Horizon's Edge. Your ships that have fallen, your warriors have surrendered, not because we are stronger than you, not because we are faster, but because we do not stop, we do not rest, we do not give up. Run if you want, hide if you can, but know this, wherever you go we will follow. However long it takes, we will chase you, because that is what humans do. We are the hunters who never quit. The message spread across the galaxy. Other species heard it. Other species started to believe. In his throne room, Prime Leader listened to the message. His claws dug into the arms of his throne. Around him, his advisors were silent. They did not know what to say. Nothing like this had ever happened before. "Send more fleets," ordered. "Overwhelm them with numbers." But numbers did not help. Wherever they sent their ships, the humans were waiting. They did not fight fair battles. They fought long battles, chases that lasted weeks, engagements that never ended. They won some of these fights, but they lost more, and every loss made the next one more likely. Across space, the unthinkable began to happen. Species that they had dominated for centuries started to resist. Small rebellions, sabotage, stolen supplies. They had seen the humans fight. They had seen the lose. Hope was spreading like a disease. Lieutenant developed new tactics. She called them pressure waves. Human ships would appear at the edge of a system, fire a few shots, and then leave. An hour later, they would appear again. Then again. Then again. They never attacked seriously, but they never went away either. After a few days of this, the defenders were falling apart. They could not eat. They could not sleep. Every time they relaxed, the humans came back. It was driving them insane. "This is not war," one captured captain said. "This is torture." "No," replied, "this is how we hunt." Dr. Minu kept working on new weapons. He created chemical compounds that made the tired faster, gas grenades that filled enemy ships with synthetic exhaustion. When exposed, warriors would feel like they had been fighting for days, even if the battle had just started. "Is this cruel?" Minu asked Admiral once. "They killed 47 species," replied. "They came to kill us. This is survival." Minu nodded and went back to work. The war continued for months. Human fleets pushed deeper into territory. They captured planets. They freed slaves. They destroyed bases. They never stopped moving. Prime Leader watched his empire crumble. His advisors gave him reports filled with bad news. Ships lost. Worlds fallen. Fleets surrendered. The greatest military in the galaxy was being dismantled piece by piece. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They are small, weak, they bleed, they die. How are they winning?" Commander Torn, who had been brought to the palace after his recovery, stepped forward. "They are not weak, my lord. They are different. We are the greatest predators in the galaxy when the hunt is short, but their kind of hunt is long, so long that we cannot survive it. They have turned our greatest strength into our greatest weakness." Stared at him. "What do you suggest?" "One final battle. Throw everything we have at their home world. Not a siege, not a hunt. A single, overwhelming strike. Kill them all before they can wear us down." Thought about this. It was risky. If the attack failed, there would be nothing left to defend the home world. But if it succeeded, the human threat would be ended forever. "Gather every ship we have," said. "Every warrior, every weapon. We will go to Earth ourselves. We will end this war with fire." He stood up from his throne, his old bones aching. "And I will kill their leaders with my own claws." Back on the horizon's edge, Lieutenant looked at her sensor display and frowned. "Captain, something strange is happening. Ships are retreating from all sectors." Came to look, she was right. Across the map, forces were pulling back, not fighting, not chasing, just leaving. "Where are they going?" Did the calculations. Her face went pale. "They are gathering at their home world. All of them, every ship in their fleet." She looked up. "Captain, they are going to attack Earth, and they are bringing everything they have." Closed his eyes. This was it. The final battle. Everything they had fought for would be decided in one last confrontation. He opened a channel to Admiral. "Sir, they are coming, all of them. They are coming for Earth." There was a long pause. Then's voice came through, calm and steady. "Good, let them come. It is time to end this." Smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter who finally had his prey where he wanted it. Yes, sir, it is time. The Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel near Mars. 2,347 warships, every vessel the Dominion had left, every warrior who could hold a weapon. Prime Leader stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Hunger. He looked at the red planet through the main window, and beyond it the blue marble called Earth. Such a small world, such a small species, and yet they had brought his empire to the edge of destruction. Today that would end. Scan their defenses, he ordered. The reports came back quickly. Human forces were gathered near Earth and its moon, approximately 800 warships, less than half of what they had brought. Defense satellites surrounded the planet. Ground forces waited on the moon and on Mars. They are outnumbered, said. They cannot stop us. He activated the fleet-wide communication channel. His voice echoed across 2,000 ships. Warriors of the Dominion, we have conquered the galaxy. We have destroyed all who stood against us. These humans think they are different. They think their persistence makes them special. Today, we show them the truth. They are prey. They have always been prey, and prey does not win against predators. He raised his clawed fist. Attack, destroy everything, leave nothing alive. The Armada surged forward like a wave of death. Thousands of weapons charged. Thousands of warriors roared. It was the largest attack in history. On the human side, Admiral watched them come. He was on the defense station orbiting Earth's moon, coordinating the entire defense. Around him, officers worked at their stations, calm and focused. Admiral, they are in range, one officer said. I see them. Looked at the tactical display. So many red dots, so few blue ones. The numbers were not good, but numbers were not everything. He opened a channel to Captain on the horizon's edge. Captain, are your ships ready? Ready and waiting, sir. Good, begin Phase 1. The human fleet did not charge forward to meet the. Instead, they pulled back, retreating toward Earth. The followed just as expected. They are running, a commander reported. Cowards. Smiled, chase them. Do not let them escape. The fleet accelerated. They were faster than human ships. They would catch them. They would destroy them. But the humans did not try to outrun them. They stayed just ahead, just out of reach, always visible, always tempting. Hour after hour the chase continued. They pushed harder. Their engines burned hot. Their crews stayed at battle stations, ready for the final confrontation. The confrontation did not come. By the 6th hour, some crews were struggling. They had been at battle stations since before the jump. They were tired, hungry. Their reflexes were slowing. Sir, request permission to rotate crews, a ship commander asked. We do not have time. The humans are right there. We will catch them soon. But soon never came. The humans kept retreating. The chase continued. On the horizon's edge, Lieutenant monitored the fleet. Their formation is getting sloppy, she reported. Ships are drifting. Response times are slower. Nodded, it is working. How much longer? Dr. Minu says 3 more hours for optimal effect. Then we give them 3 more hours. The human ships continued their dance. Fall back. Fire a few shots, fall back again. Never commit. Never engage fully, just enough to keep the angry and chasing. 9 hours into the battle, everything changed. Phase 2, Admiral ordered. All ships full attack. The human fleet stopped retreating. They turned and charged directly at the Armada. At the same time, hidden ships emerged from behind Mars and from the asteroid belt. 200 fresh vessels, crews fully rested, weapons fully charged. They were caught off guard. They had been chasing for 9 hours. Their crews were exhausted. Their ships were running low on fuel. And now, 1,000 human ships were hitting them from 3 directions. Dr. Minu's special weapons activated. Chemical rockets filled ships with gas that made tired warriors even more tired. Electronic weapons disrupted their communications. Suddenly, the Great Armada was a confused, exhausted mess. "Fight!" screamed. "Fight, you cowards!" His warriors tried. They did not surrender. They did not run. They stood their ground and fought with everything they had. But everything they had was not enough. Human ships operated in perfect coordination. Fresh crews replaced tired ones every 4 hours. Weapons fired in calculated patterns designed to maximize fatigue. The battle raged for 3 days, and for 3 days the humans never let up. By the second day, ships were surrendering by the dozens. Their crews simply could not continue. Some collapsed at their stations. Others begged for mercy. A few tried to escape, but human ships hunted them down. On the third day, only the eternal hunger remained fighting. Stood alone on his bridge. His crew was unconscious around him. His weapons were depleted. His shields were failing. Through the cracked window, he could see human ships surrounding him. A shuttle approached. Armed soldiers in human armor boarded the flagship. They moved through the corridors with careful precision, clearing room after room. At their lead was Sergeant, the woman who had defended New, the woman who had chased Torn through the mountains, the woman who never stopped. She found on his throne. He was sitting upright, claws gripping the armrests. His eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep. His scales were dull and cracked. He looked 1,000 years old. Prime Leader said, "Your fleet is destroyed. Your empire has fallen. You are under arrest for crimes against sentient life." Laughed. It was a dry, broken sound. "You think you have won. You think this is over, that we'll never submit to prey." Walked toward him. She was not afraid. She had never been afraid. "You called yourselves apex predators. You thought that made you invincible, but you forgot something." She stopped directly in front of him. "On our world, we hunted everything. We hunted creatures faster than us, stronger than us, deadlier than us. We did not beat them with speed or strength. We beat them by never giving up, by following them until they dropped, by being the one thing in the universe that does not know when to stop." She leaned close to his face. "You were never the apex predators. You were just the ones who had not met us yet." Stared at her. For the first time in his long life, he understood true fear, not the fear of death, the fear of something worse, the fear of an enemy who would never stop coming. Never. "I surrender," he whispered. Nodded. "Smart choice." She put him in restraints and let him off his own ship. The war was over. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Kell arrived at Earth as the official representative of the Galactic Council. The same Kell who had delivered the declaration of war. The same Kell who had told humanity to surrender or die. He stood in a great hall surrounded by human officials. His hands were shaking. His voice was unsteady. "The Galactic Council offers humanity a seat among us," he said. "We recognize your species as a major power in the galaxy. We wish to live in peace with you." Captain stepped forward. Behind him stood Minu and Admiral, the heroes of the war, the hunters who had become legends. "We accept," said, "but let me be clear about something, Ambassador. We did not fight this war because we wanted power. We fought because they were killing innocent people. We fought because no one else would." He looked around the hall. Representatives from a dozen species were watching, species who had refused to help, species who had bet on humanity's destruction. "We are not like we do not want to conquer the galaxy. We do not want to be feared, but we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. And if anyone ever again tries to do what they did, they will face the same fate." He paused. "We are humans. We do not stop. We do not quit. And we never ever forget." Ambassador Kell nodded quickly. "Yes, of course, we understand." He understood. Everyone understood now. Years later, the galaxy had changed. The Dominion was gone, replaced by a peaceful confederation. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were finally free. Trade flourished. Wars became rare. The galaxy was safer than it had been in 10,000 years. And at the center of it all were the humans. not as conquerors, not as rulers, just as protectors. The strange, soft, small species that had defeated the galaxy's apex predators by simply refusing to give up. On Earth, children learned the story of the war. They learned about Captain's brave stand, about Sergeant's impossible defense, about Dr. Minu's clever weapons, about Admiral's patient strategy, about Lieutenant's deadly precision. They learned that humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the deadliest. They were something better. They were the ones who never stopped. And in the darkness between stars, where monsters lurked and empires rose and fell, that was enough. That was always enough.